What's going on YouTube? Hey everybody, what's up? What's up? Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. The time is now 8:01. Glad that you guys could join us. We are here and we have a very special guest on with us today. So before we get to that, just want to say hi to the room. We are simulcast on YouTube as well as on Instagram. We're powered by StreamYard. The Way, for those who don't know who we are a nonprofit located in New York, and we talk every week about different things wealth related. We go from financial literacy to relationships to philanthropy. And one of the things that we haven't got a lot of chance to talk about is entrepreneurship. So today, hey Auntie, what's up? What's up? So today we have our special guest, and I'm actually pulling her up right now. But this is a person that I've known for quite some time. I was happy that she was able to spend some time with us on our Wealth Wednesday. So without further ado, let me pull up our guest today, Miss Aria. 1 second. Make sure I know how to do this, right? Shoot, here we go. Boom. Add person. There she is. Come on up here. There you are.
It worked.
Yeah, it's supposed to work. It better work. Aria, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Let me just increase my microphone. Oh, let me go this way so that we can pick it up on the YouTube stream. So yeah, I am good. Thank you for spending the time with us today. And I guess. Oh, can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we good? Technical difficulties? How are we doing?
We're good. We're good.
All right. So Aria, first of all, welcome to Wealth Wednesday. This is a show that's been going on for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And we have been doing these types of guest interviews and like randomly, not all the time. Usually we're talking some, wealth creation, financial literacy stuff, talking about the stock market. Then we'll talk about philanthropy, giving back, knowing what energy is like and all those types of things. But today, I think you're a very good guest because we're going to hit on all three top topics just because it's going to be, trust me, I'm going to flow into it. You'll see. But for folks who don't know, can you kindly introduce yourself to the family? Let them know kind of your name, where you're from, and what you do.
All right. Well, hello, everyone who's in the room. I'll say good day because I know there's people from all around, maybe different time zones, perhaps. But anyway, my name is Aria Zenua, and I am a professional vocalist, performer, and in 2018, I started my own business called the Teeny Tinies, which is a children's music initiative. And what made me start that, was, I was gonna say, I don't know how far you want me to go into it, but I'll just
go far. We're gonna touch on everything, but I want you to just flow right now.
Okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned, I started my business in 2018, but kind of leading up to that, I've been a professional vocalist, doing my own original music. I've had my own band over the years, and more recently, I've gotten into the corporate side of things, private events and weddings, lots of weddings. For all the people that didn't get to have their weddings in the last 2 years, they're all like, let's go, let's do it. So it's gotten busy, which is good.
Right.
And so in 2018, I decided to fuse my love and passion for music with my love and passion for children to create the Teeny Tinies, which is the children's music initiative. And I am completely in love with what I do. And I feel like there's definitely a space for music, especially with children. And along with the music, I make sure that there's music incorporated in every class, but part of what the Teeny Tinies is all about is really about instilling positive messaging and wellness, and for families on a whole. And so in every class, although we're learning simple rhythms, we're really expanding our creativity. There's always plugins and messages about, gratitude, patience, kindness, love, in all of the classes, because that was really big for me. I have 2 boys, and I know that when I had them, there were music classes, but I wanted more. I know that when a lot of mamas and families go out to classes like these, right, they want connection. They want to be able to get out and make connections. But I also wanted to have fun, I also wanted to have fun. And so I really bring that element of fun playfulness and encourage families to tap into their inner child, along with stimulating children in their development and sparking their imagination and creativity. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. I'm just gonna let you know you answered about 3 of my questions that I had sitting here. So I'm gonna just smooth those away and add new things in there. But no, well, Aria, thank you for coming on through. And it's like, during COVID, I mean, like we're still in a pandemic now. COVID's been happening for the last 2.5 years. How did you find the pandemic impacted your ability to be an entrepreneur and even to start Teeny Tiny? Because again, we're talking about, trying to change the way we did things. Like we changed how we did school. We changed how we did, play dates. People are doing a lot more Zoom meetings. Even Sesame Street had Sesame Street Playhouse, where you're literally having Zoom meetings with the Sesame Street puppets. Like everyone had to kind of shift and adjust. So how did COVID impact your, I guess, just you personally, as well as, your business and even just, everything? Like how did it impact you and what did you do to kind of navigate through it?
Yeah, so it impacted me. Initially, I'll be honest, I was scared. And there was a few weeks where I was, really kind of just in shock and more fearful than I would have liked to admit. And then that didn't last too long because I'm not one to really give in to that energy for too long.
Right.
And so once I got over that and just said, you know what, I'm just going to take it day by day, I was able to actually find a lot of goodness in it. More time to be with my family, more time to slow down and actually focus on the things that I'm doing in my life instead of kind of just going with it.
Right.
I got a lot of time to sit back and reflect on a lot of great things. I've been saying I wanted to garden. I finally planted my own garden. I had my own veggies for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of it was really just like really going inward and connecting with nature and my family, which was absolutely incredible. Because prior to that, it was like go, 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 go. Mm-hmm. And so I'd say the biggest takeaway was just learning a lot about myself and connecting with my family and nature was a huge, huge deal for me. And I also had the chance now diving into my business. Mm-hmm. It gave me the opportunity to step back from doing weddings and corporate events, which is what I was doing full time.
Right.
Which was like, devastating. Felt like I had the rug pulled right from underneath me because that was my full time, and then it was just gone.
Gone, yeah.
Gone. And so once I shook off the jitters and such, it was just like, okay, time to grind, time to hustle, time to get creative. Like you might fall down, but you don't stay down, right? So it was like, all right, let's go. And so I got a chance to focus on the teeny tinies. Whereas before I was kind of squeezing in the teeny tinies, mm-hmm. I had a chance to really focus, and it was perfect because I needed it. Several other families needed something to do with their children to keep their spirits uplifted. Right. Music is obviously a great source for that.
Right.
And so I was like on Zoom like everybody else. I was on Instagram Live. I must have done Instagram Lives, free classes for like almost a year.
Wow.
three times a week on there, just like doing classes, encouraging families to, stay uplifted, be positive, focused on gratitude, and give the tiny ones something to do and play. And so, yeah, it just shifted to a virtual realm. I'm not one that's all for the whole virtual stuff,
right.
But there is always, I feel like, there's always a good side to something.
Right.
So the point is, I got to connect with a lot of families that I never got to connect with before.
Yeah.
Through doing Zoom classes, virtual classes, people wanted to get outside. So in the warmer months, my pivot was just get out there, get in their backyards, local parks, mm-hmm. So that was my pivot. It was pour into the teeny tinies, which is really needed, and get on the virtual platform and focus on smaller groups when we were able to in person. Outside.
And one of the reasons why I'm gonna talk about this because we're gonna segue, right? Like one of the things that you mentioned was how the pandemic was a time for you to slow down. It was a time for you to kind of start to reconnect with not just yourself, but with the goals that you had, like gardening, planting your own veggies and fruits, and you're now harvesting that. being able to connect with your family, your loved ones. Like, I think for the folks like you and me, because I have the exact same, same experience, the COVID was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for folks to really get a second chance at something. And you got to pick what that something was, whether that was a career. A lot of folks lost their jobs. They had to go into the entrepreneurial space, which is, something similar to what you did. You didn't lose your job, but you lost the opportunity to make what you were making because no events are happening. Everything's locked down, so nothing's happening. So you had to adjust. And it was as if the pandemic was a perfect opportunity for you to just pivot, and one thing I like about that is that for folks, and we talked about this on the show many times in the past, but what I'd say was last year was a year of sowing, sowing seeds of many different types, whether it be a business venture, whether it be, an opportunity to grow in some sort of area with skills, going back to school, taking courses, whether it be connecting with people that you haven't seen in a while and coming together to collaborate on stuff. Last year was the year to start building those bonds, right? And now this year is sort of like the year to reap that harvest. And I've been telling folks, though, if you didn't sow anything last year, you're not reaping anything right now. You're just watching everybody else reap. And Aria, you're a perfect example of someone who's reaping, from the seeds that you sowed, the teeny tiny seeds that you sowed last year, right? You're reaping that now. And it's like, if you didn't take the time to step away from, everything and just take a look at what you wanted to refocus on, we may not be here today having this conversation.
No. And I have to shout out a friend of mine, Mike from, he's a real estate agent, Mike Deek, real estate. Because in March, I saw people doing the virtual platform,
right?
And I didn't get on it until like he had called or messaged, and he was like, "Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this?" And it was kind of like, I don't know. I'm still kind of just taking it all in. Like, what's going on here? and then it was like, okay, well, I mean, how long am I going to sit and observe? So I just kind of threw myself in. And I know that doing that doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it does. Like, I'll sit on it for way too long. I got to just jump. And then, I got to jump.
You had to like channel your inner Nigerian. That's how my dad would teach us how to swim. He's like, you want to learn to swim? He'd throw us in. You want to learn? drown or swim.
Not no water. But yeah.
No.
Pretty much. That's exactly what happened.
Okay. So now here's a question about your history, right? So I know a lot of artists, they either learned to play the piano growing up, or they just were singing in church choirs or whatever have you to kind of hone that skill of loving music. Where would you say was the beginning of when you first like realized that music was your thing? Like how young were you? What were you doing to kind of get that spark in you to know that you wanted to do something within the music realm, regardless of what it was, just knew that you wanted to do something? When did that happen for you? And what was the proximate cause? Like what was the most closest thing that was the reason why it started?
Yeah. So I know when the moment was.
Okay.
It was in like 2007 or 2008. It always gets blurry in my mind there. 2007 or 2008. But yeah, I was in Hong Kong, and I was working in retail, and I got a call from a friend of mine who plays bass, and he said, I know a band, they're looking for a vocalist to travel out to Dubai and sing. Okay. And I was like,
okay.
I mean, I'll leave this job today.
Right now, we're going.
Yeah, let's go. And so I did end up leaving. The project got switched to Hong Kong from Dubai, but that didn't matter to me.
Right.
And I got to go to Hong Kong and sing 6 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
6 nights a week for nearly a year. And that's all that I did. I didn't have to do anything else other than make sure that my vocals are sharp. I know my stuff, get on stage and throw it down. That's all I had to do. And that's what I did. And that's when I really confronted a lot of who I am as an artist. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized, this is what I want to do. I came home and I was like, there's no doubt in my mind, this is what I want to do. So that was the moment. But I had been singing I've been writing songs since I was 6, and performing, going to my dad's rehearsals and performing in bands with, I had my own female band. I was part of a female band called oh my gosh, oh my goodness.
You're gonna have a senior moment right now? It's okay. We are allowed to have those at our age. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No one's gonna judge you.
Shades of brown. Let's just cut out that senior moment.
We're gonna take. I'm gonna edit out the 4 seconds that it took.
Set it all the way down.
Shades of brown.
Okay. Shades of Brown, and I was in an all-female band called Shades of Brown, and I was in a group duo with my sister called Avenue. Oh, wow. So and then I was in another band called Earth Tones. That was my dad and my husband in the band, and so I've been singing since I was 6 and performing when I was in high school, like 16, 17, but I didn't have that moment until 2007.
And do you see, like, if you think about that, right? And this is for folks that are listening. I mean, you're looking at someone who has been in music their entire life, basically. I mean, if your father's a musician, like, you're in music, right? And, you know, senior moments, we be having them. What you know about that, auntie?
You know what I'm saying?
That's my auntie. My auntie's the best. So that you've been practicing, rehearsing, singing. I mean, I remember, I have very few memories of it, but I remember you singing and wanting to do that, and like, yo, just go do it, right? Like, and here's my thing. All of that was the backdrop before the opportunity came. You know, like, you had to like work at your craft. Like, you were singing, starting up bands, doing all this stuff. And then in 2006, opportunity was, okay, now it presents itself. And now you get a chance to really just take your skills and really add them to the world. And it's like, that took a lot of time. I mean, that wasn't like, the work before it was just as critical as you being able to perform in those moments. And I want to tell every artist, like, I know you guys are going through it. And a lot of us that aren't artists don't understand how much work you put in before you get your big breaks, like before you even get recognized, before you get an opportunity to sing live or to work with a band or whatever, get a contract. Like, you are working on your craft in solo. And actually, Classic Fees is another one. That's a friend of mine from Buffalo who's also an artist. And, you know, she's been singing. I remember meeting her, and she was always a good vocalist. And it's like, yo, these folks go through the war. Like, they go through it just to get to an opportunity. And then when you get that chance, it's like, okay, now I can tell whether or not I really want to be an artist. Now I can tell whether or not this is for me. And it sounds like that's something that you had to go through, right?
Yeah, because up until then, I was sure I was doing shows. I was performing a lot, like you said, a lot. Practicing days and hours, but I was also doing other things, right?
Right.
So it wasn't until I got to go away and only do music where I realized I don't miss any of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm good just doing this. This is what I want to do. And I realized that I built up the confidence to say, I can do this. Because I used to, you know, my voice used to tremble on stage. My knees used to shake. Like,
what?
All that stuff
you were nervous?
Movies and stuff.
You got nervous?
Yeah, that was me. That was me. My voice would quiver. My knee would be shaking like this. I'd ask for a stool because I couldn't stand up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that, the realness. So, you know, one of my questions was, how did playing live or singing live change from when you started it, when it was kind of like raw and not an experienced thing, to like now, where like you've been doing it for years. So like, what happened in the beginning versus now? Is it the same feeling that you get before you hit the mic and are about to go, or is it different now?
Oh, it's very different. It's very different. Part of it's different because my confidence is different.
Okay.
And I know more of who I am. Like, you know, I know more of who I am. So that comes through on stage.
Got you.
But also, like, back then I was doing like original music, you know. It was a different performance, a different headspace to get out and do my own thing.
Right.
I was very fierce and zesty and like
zesty. You sound like a citrus salad right now. Like,
I was really like pumped to get my message out, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So
now I'd say that I'm a little bit comfortable. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't think it's a good thing. But I'm not I'm not comfortable to the point where my feet are up and I'm slacking. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Right.
I'm not that kind of comfortable. I'm comfortable because I don't really get nervous anymore. So that's why I think I'm comfortable.
Right. I remember when I had a sermon back in the day. I preached when I was like 13 years old at my church. And I remember the nerves I would get to this is the first time 13-year-old preaching in front of a crowd. Like, it was a big church. And I got so nervous like for the first 5 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I'm not gonna die up here. Like, let me just get through this and leave, right? Okay, cool. Now fast forward to like now I have a podcast. Now I'm speaking in front of my coworkers, 100 people. It doesn't even matter. Like it could be 1,000,000 people. I don't really care. And it's like,
all right.
no, but I'm just saying like that's kind of what it is. Like in the beginning, it's always like the nerves are running. And I think the only time that I get back to that feeling is when I play basketball professionally, like semi-pro. Like if I go and I play in a tournament or something like that, and like before tip off, I'm like, I get the jitters. I'm like, oh boy, am I going to play good today? Am I going to, and I get the feeling, and then it's like, okay, breathe, go play it, go do what you know what to do. And it's like that movement, like it's a lot faster at this age than it was when I was a kid. But I feel like whenever you're in the art of something that is you, something that represents you, and that you've poured your life, blood, soul into it, it's like when the time comes for you to show and share this gift with the world, there's always that moment of butterflies, and then it just dissipates quickly, and you're like, no, but this is me. I got this.
Yeah, I kind of. You mentioned that when you when you go to play basketball, it comes back. And do you get to play that often?
No, I don't. I
think that plays a part, right? So because I'm doing weddings and corporate events, it to a certain degree, it's kind of like in a similar vein. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm comfortable. I know exactly what to expect. Mm-hmm. For the most part, it's pretty similar. But when I do my own music, if I was to do that,
that's more intimate.
I would be nervous.
Yeah, that's more
because now it's like I haven't done that in a while. I'm sharing something new. It's new. It's the newness.
Mm-hmm. The newness.
Right? The newness. And newness is important.
It is.
I'm making a book.
No. Hey, this is what we do here. We create all kinds of stuff. You know what? As a matter of fact, I think that folks that can create new words are the best type of people to exist with, because clearly we're going to expand the dictionary. I mean, the word "bae" didn't exist until someone made it popular. So let's be real. Like, we got to create things. So let me get off I'm not going to ask my question anymore. I have another question, but I'm going to just talk to you, right? So let's talk about how I even found you, right? So you were on a live with Kristen, and and she's a friend of mine, went to high school together. And I click on the live. I'm like, let me just click on this. Let me see what's up. And then I see the three of you, right? I think you guys are part of a group, right? I guess have like a group.
Yeah, together? Women. Yeah. Yes.
What's the group called?
Women to Men. It's a flip on Girls to Men, because it's us women performing all male songs.
Oh.
So we're putting in.
I didn't even know that. That's awesome, actually. Okay.
Actually, Kristen was part of Shades of Brown.
Oh, was she? Okay. So you guys have been singing for decades at this point. You guys have been together for a while. Okay. So I click on this live, and I didn't even mean to click on it. It was an accident. Like, it literally popped up, and I was trying to go somewhere else on my phone. It jumped into the live, and I see Kristen, I see you, and I see another young lady, and I'm like, I know two of these people, but I'm only friends with one of them. I'm like, wait a minute. Do I know you? I'm like, is that Aria? That's Aria? What? So I'm like, the randomness of like being able to like reconnect with you was crazy. And I'm like, okay, that was obviously for a reason. And then I looked into you, and I'm like, okay, so not only are you alive and well and thriving, but you also started a company that helps little tykes to learn music and to get back into the groove of being fun, but also learning at the same time. And I'm like, yo, I got to get on my show. I got to get on the podcast, because we got to chop it up. One, we got to reconnect. Two, and I just love the way that, Teeny Tinies is set up. Like, I love the way that it's set up where you're giving parents something that they can interact with their children. Because it's not just the kids that are interacting with you, it's the parents that are interacting with their kids, interacting with you.
Yeah.
So they get to see what you're doing firsthand, and then also be able to do it with their kids when you're not on the screen. Like, they're able to take these lessons. And so, like, I'm just saying, like, you've been doing a lot of amazing things, and I want to give you kudos, give you your flowers right now, because we need more entrepreneurs like you who literally are going to move the box and just turn it into an open field so people can just create, learn, grow, and just be their authentic self. So I want to give you kudos for what you've done in the time during COVID, man. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Well, let me go ahead and pluck some for you and just hand them over as well, because like, clearly you've been doing a lot of work in the community and sharing and dropping gems for the community as well. And that's definitely essential. It takes time, and you've been consistent. So thank you for keeping that up.
Listen, you got to do it. I think a buddy of mine once said, "Hey, no matter what you do, just be consistent." It's like, just show up. You know, you have to. Actually, I think his name's on here. He's Elliot Major. He's actually on here tonight. It's like, just show up. It's like, just show up to anything, and you'll be doing well. When we thought about the podcast, it was him and I in an office together, just kind of shooting out ideas. Like, yo, we have these deep conversations about life, money, entrepreneurship, all this stuff. He's like, yo, we should just talk about it live. And I was like, yeah, but what do we call it? He's like, I don't know. Like, you know, maybe a play on your name. Maybe. And we were going through all that. And it's like, from that moment in my office to literally, you know, a nonprofit where we actually have a financial literacy program that we offer to kids and adults, where we actually had 2 courses so far. We have 2 classes that already went through, where we go from chapters 1 through 5, where by the time you're done, you're able to set up your own retirement accounts, your own, you know, mutual fund investments, watch list. You're able to, you know, debt consolidate. You're able to know what your savings goals should be, how to save properly. Wow. Like, you set up a will and testament. Like, these folks are going through our class and getting hooked up with knowledge that they'd have to pay a financial advisor for. And that was an idea in my office with my boy Elliot Major, like just literally sitting down chopping it up. So goes to show you, life is about taking those little gems and making something of it. And I think we both have that in common.
That's a big deal. I feel like there's such a hole in that area in terms of knowledge and people knowing what to do. Even as an artist, like I was asking, because I didn't go to school for music, but a lot of the musicians that I'm around did.
Right.
And I've asked them, you know, you learn the music, but are they how to do your taxes as an entrepreneur, as an artist? Are they teaching you how to like all these financial things that, like, how are you supposed to know that? And then you end up learning it while you're in it, making mistakes that you really don't need to go through. And so it's a huge area of growth for sure. So you get a whole bushel of flowers.
Hey, listen, man, just take the thorns off. I'll take them. It's so funny. Like I feel like you're 100% right. In the music industry, I've met artists and they don't ever get a conversation about anything until they sign a contract. Like, they don't even get help on
even a contract discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to know, like, there's so much things you need to know. Mm-hmm. You need to know what happens with your music overseas, streaming, all these there's so many different things that go into it aside from just being an artist, that if you're really trying to be successful, whether you're famous or not, you really need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about that industry. It's like, I feel like the folks that make, you know, the most amount of money had to get a team around them that could help support, you know, not just them on the scene, but also behind the scenes. Like, you know, the makeup artists, the marketers, the advertisers, the financial people, the team. You know, you have to have a team around you. And I think, you know, when you look at local artists, folks who don't have a team and don't have anyone to really like put them under their wings, it's like, those are the people that I'm trying to find. I'm like, yo, let me find all these local folks that don't have a team, don't have, you know, a group that they're working with, and just give them some knowledge, give them some free education. That way they can go to the table and not seem like they're lost. You know, when it comes to contract negotiation, when it comes to, you know, what kind of deals you want to sign up for, it's like, hey, we can talk money. Let's talk money. And if they want it, we can talk it, you know, so.
We're going to have that conversation.
Listen, I'm here. Hey,
have to carve out some time.
You got free advice for your lifetime. Just anytime you need it, just, you know, message me. I got you. All right. So question for you. What's next for you in 2022? Because, you know, we know 2021 was the year of sowing and 2022 is the year of reaping. You're reaping some of the harvest now. But as an artist, I know, and just as a professional, there's always another goal that, you know, you start to kind of develop as you start getting close to accomplishing a last goal. Like, one thing I've read and learned is that whenever you come into a plan and it works out and you actually complete it, there is a Sabbath that happens after that plan is done. It's like a moment of rest and respite, you know, where it's like, hey, I've accomplished my degree. I get to go to I graduated. I walked down the aisle. You know, there's always the end of whatever the goal was. And there's like a little bit of break. And then something else comes. There's a new thing that has to now move because of where you got to. Is there something like that in the works that you can share with us right now that you're kind of seeing coming around the pike that you're like, hey, this might be what's next in 2022? Yeah, open-ended question there.
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like if there was a bend, and, you know, around the bend is where you get to see, oh, this is where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
I'm probably like just before the bend where I'm like, oh, this is where I want to go. So like, I hit the floor running, right? When I had to pivot.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I got to sit and plan and organize what I was going to do. It was kind of like just on your toes, going with it because everything was up in the air.
Right.
So yes, I'm reaping a lot of those seeds. I am definitely reaping. I made a lot of great connections. But right now what I'm doing is I'm looking at all of these different things that have grown and that are growing. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, which area do I want to really focus on and move forward with? Not to say that I won't with the other things that have come up with the teeny tinies, and I know this sounds vague, but for example, going and doing private classes in a backyard or a local park, I love doing those. Do I want to focus solely on doing those? Do I want to get a fixed location where people can always find me? These kinds of things. I have a few different pathways that I'm thinking about going, but haven't come around that bend yet to say, oh, I see it clearly. That's what I want to do.
Right.
So in terms of what, I can't say that I know exactly what I want to do with what I have in front of me, but I do know that I definitely need to focus on partnerships and building somewhat of a team, not necessarily the teeny tinies team and you guys are all with me,
right?
But more so just like tapping into different people in markets that are in my field that can help, because what I've seen is that you can carry yourself so far and then it's helpful as an entrepreneur to have the teamwork, to have the partnerships, people in different fields to help you flourish.
Right.
And that's what I know that I need right now. And so I am focusing on kind of sifting out who I should be talking to, who can help to be as familiar with. And then I think I'll be able to have a better answer as to where I want to go and what I want to do specifically with the teeny tinies.
Sounds like you're building the relationships around your baby, because every business, and for those who aren't entrepreneurs yet, like when you have a business, that's like a child. It's like birthing an actual kid, right? And you know, there's a saying in Africa that goes, you have to, you know, a village raises a kid. That's just what they say. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. So right now, camera's flipped the wrong way. Aria, you all right?
I can't see anything over here.
Okay, your camera's back on you now. We're good. So yeah, so I was saying like there is a village aspect that's required when it comes to any business.
Oh, so wait, you mean to say you guys saw all of my stuff in the corner?
Yeah. We saw the pull-up bar and whatever else was back there going on. I mean, listen, this is live TV right now. This is almost like what happened a couple of weeks ago. This is the greatest moment in life. No, it's not the greatest moment in life.
I mean,
listen,
it's kind of rough back there, but it's all right.
If I flip my camera, you know what? I'm gonna just do this just so that you guys can see.
Honestly,
I got you. Check this out.
I'm completely good with my little corner there.
Do you see that right there? Do you see that? That's me flipping my camera.
Why would you even do that? That did not make it any better. That looks organized, my friend.
I'm just being a team player right now.
This corner is like the corner of my mind with what I'm trying to organize with my business. I'm like, that's important. Listen, but I gotta put you here. Put you here. You need a home. Yeah.
Hey, the way I see it is that we're real people having real conversations. That's what makes this stuff amazing. People are sitting here listening to us, chopping it up, and they're like, "Yo, those are two real cats just having a conversation. We good. Like, we okay. Let's put it that way. We all right. We know we real." So, but yeah, so having a business is like having a kid, and you need a village to raise that child. That's just a thing. And I think, you know, being in a season where you're reaping the harvest now, and now you know, hey, I don't want to just have a harvest for just my farm. I want to be able to feed many, many more families, meaning feed them with the musical abilities to, you know, have their children be connected, right? Being able to, you know, do what you're doing just on a larger scale. Well, it's going to take an economies of scale type of growth where you have to tap into other communities. And that's why I really wanted to have this conversation with you, because I'm in New York. My connects are all in America. And guess what? Because you're virtual, guess what that means? That means that everyone that's listening to this, or that will recast this or listen to on YouTube or whatever, they're able to tap into you from the States. And I think that that's going to be a very beautiful thing, because the community that I'm around, the folks that I'm around, I mean, we've been building community since February of last year. Like, I've been a part of a group where we've been doing a lot of like building of like just effort where it comes to like looking at land together, trying to figure out how we can do things as a community internationally, trying to figure out how we can become more resourceful with what we do have within our communities and say, hey, if you got a seamstress and you got a shop location and you got, sheep, we gonna connect y'all together and we gonna make our own factory. Like we're on that tip right now as we speak. So for you, I'm just saying that this was the perfect time for this conversation to happen because I know a lot of the folks that are tapping into this are gonna tap into you, tap it. And guys, if you haven't followed Aria, please follow her. Follow the Teeny Tinies. It's on her page. Like just get connected to that. This is the Way Tribe. You know how we do. We embrace you fully and we make sure that we support everything that you do because when we support you, we're supporting ourselves. We're supporting each other. And to me, I've been doing a lot of historical reference on like our community, Black and brown communities around the planet. Like our best work is when we're like this. Mm-hmm. When we're like this, the entire world cannot handle us. And to me, it's like for us to be like this, we have to know what the other person is doing and support and encourage that. We've got to be able to look past our own desires and wants and say, okay, how can we take what our skills are and give that back in a way that's going to benefit the people around me and the folks that are in my community? Because we have never done that as a people consistently. And right now, this is a time where we've all built up all these different skills and abilities. It's like, why aren't we just doing this? So you're in a space now where a lot of the folks that listen to this show, they're all about this. So I think you're in the right spot right now.
Yeah. I feel like I am as well. That's another thing that I learned over this whole span of the last 2 years was just trusting the process, trusting the timing of things, knowing that things are in alignment. So
right. Yeah, and there's a feel to it too. Like I think, when we think about the things that are for you, right? It could be 10 years apart, 15 years apart. When something's for you, it keeps coming back. And I think that that's the same with people. Like when you have the right type of vibration and you're doing something that's really progressive, that's really impacting the world, you're going to start sending out an energy that's going to be felt by others and it's going to attract the right type of people to you. So I feel like because you're on this bend where you're about to turn that bend, it's like before you get around the corner, I'm sure that you're going to attract all of the people, all of the different types of connections that you need so that when you turn the corner, it's going to be smooth as hell. Because again, you're putting that out into the universe. There is a holy trinity that we talk about where it's like there's a person that creates something, there's the action of creating it, and then there's a result of the created piece here, right? So like the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, the Mother, the Daughter, and the Spirit, right? Every action has 3 parts to it: the Creator, Mother or Father, the actual action itself to have that thing exist, the ghost, and then the son or daughter, the child of that event. I feel like whenever you're in that process of reality where you're the creator of something, whether it's a business, an idea, you're trying to create a movement, whatever it is, by you even being present, you're going to attract other creators that are on the same wavelength as you when you're doing that. And by the process of you just going through the actions of taking one step at a time, moving in that direction to create this thing that is for the community, that's for the greater good, the universe is going to be watching. Like when you're doing that, you're going to attract everyone and everything that's supposed to be for you. Because I truly believe that once you have a mission and you figure it out, the universe breaks its back to get you all the resources that you need to make sure that it happens and it comes to fruition, as long as you allow yourself to be free and open to that energy. What do you think about that?
I agree 100%, especially with the last part. You have to be free and open to it. Otherwise, it can be there, but you won't know.
Right.
It'll be there for you, but you won't necessarily know. Or it won't come to you because you're not open to receiving it consciously. Yeah, definitely agree with that. You have to be open and trust. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have to trust, at least for me anyways. I had to trust. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm trusting the process and I'm just going to keep moving forward day by day, step by step. And things definitely do come into place. People come into place. Mm-hmm. They have already along this path and I don't feel discouraged at all.
Right.
I'm not coming around that bend and seeing exactly what I want to do because I know that it will become clear and I'm not about to rush into anything until it's clear.
And think about like how amazing that is when you I won't say give in, but it's when you surrender. That's the word I want to use. When you surrender to your dharma, which is Hindu for your path, your life's path, right? When you surrender to that, it's so amazing how freeing that is. It's like you're not concerned about people's opinions anymore. You're not concerned about whether or not something didn't work out today. When you've committed to a path of like, I'm going to make this good for the world and I'm going to put my heart and soul into it, once you've committed to that and you surrender that outcome to the universe to say, hey, Mother Universe, I'm doing this. Yo,
magnetic.
I have never. Huh?
Yeah. Sorry, it's gone. Yes,
No.
it's magnetic. The force is serious.
Mhm.
It's serious. It is.
You gotta surrender. And I think that's to me like how life is. And if life isn't like that for you, for folks who are listening to this, if your life isn't like that, if you're in a situation where you're fighting and fighting and fighting, and you're not really allowing the flow of energy to just be over you and just to exist in your space, you may want to relocate your space because you might be going upriver instead of downriver. Like, think of it this way, right? The universe is moving everything towards this righteous end. And if you're aligned with it, it's going to help power everything you're doing towards that righteous end. So if you're doing something or you're around certain people that are not like smooth, there's probably a reason for that. You may want to relocate your mindset. You may want to look at what you're doing and say, hey, maybe I need to shift, like what you did when the pandemic happened. You shifted from, okay, I was doing this, but now I'm going to shift in this direction. I'm going to get closer to the land. I'm going to start, growing things. I'm going to start connecting with my family. Like, you could fight upstream, or you can say, no, those gigs are no longer here. Let me just get closer to myself. Let me just figure out what is the alignment with the universe. And it's like, if we all just took the time to just stop and do that in our own daily lives, it would make your life so much easier. You don't have to fight things. Like, we just got to get to that space, Aria. And I feel like you're a perfect example of a person that did it, that we can all look at as an example. Like, hey, you pivoted, you shifted. And now, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you made the right shift at the right time now looking back?
Yes, 100%, without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I'm very, very grateful. And I used to be really weary about saying that because a lot of horrible things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't all smooth for me by any means.
Right.
But there was just a lot that I was able to pick out from it that I'm extremely grateful for. Mm. I did what I needed to do, and it got me in a great position. And I know that it helped a lot of families, including myself. And thank you to everyone who, messaged and called me and told me directly countless times, how much the child loved it, how much they loved it, how much they look forward to it, because we feed each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
What I give is partially what I'm receiving. Just like when I'm on stage singing, which is why I missed performing in front of people so much, because that energy exchange is vital.
Now, you just said a word that triggered me. So, energy exchange, right? People don't know that when they say there's a power is in the tongue, right? It's not just in what you say, but it's also in your intention that is vocalized to the audience or to whoever. So, like, if you're singing and you're upset, we can feel the pain in your music. If you're singing and you're joyous, we can feel the joy in your music. Like, there's a direct correlation between the artist, where they are mentally, and what they're giving to the audience. So, like, do you see that when you're singing? Like, depending on whatever mood you have, like, that you're actually transferring either the melody of the song, the intention behind the song, if you're singing someone else's music or your own music, do you feel that transfer happening, like, in real time? Because this is a question that I would just have in general, because I feel like that would be a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing, for sure. Like, there are times when it's more of a performance, I'll be very honest, because there's some times where maybe I had a long day, maybe I had a rough day, and then I gotta go on stage for someone's wedding and be joyous and happy and full of love to celebrate.
Faking it till you make it, they call it.
Your life. So that's more of a performance,
right?
But it's not fake per se. But I say more of a performance because I might not be feeling that joy deep within myself, but I'm able to tap into it so that I can share it with you. Because I think if I'm not able to tap into it, like you said, it won't transcend. It does not transcend the same way. It just does not. Yeah. It definitely does not. So I'm grateful that I can tap into it, even if it's not directly in me in that moment. I can tap into it. Thank goodness.
Now let's think about, like, okay, we're going to go deep here because that's just what we're doing right now. Like when you think about that, think of the power behind an artist creating music, right? Because let's say that you had a terrible day and you're going to sing a song from Alicia Keys' album, right? You know, you have a couple of songs that I've liked on your page from Alicia Keys. Yeah. So you're going to tap into that song. But when she created that song, the melody, the imbuement of her energy into the music, it is something that is permanently in the music. And all you have to do is tap into that energy that she laid in there for you to be able to perform it the way that you do. And it's like, think about the power in that. Like if we all thought about how powerful our gifts are, where if someone else is having a bad day, just because they tapped into, you know, your gift, you could potentially give them something positive to look forward to because they're imbuing the thing that you already created. It's like, that idea to me is just kind of amazing. It's a little trippy if you think about it, but music is a beautiful like caveat for that. Music does that to people. You know, there's certain music that I'll listen to when I'm trying to race, because I used to race when I was in high school. I don't think I ever raced. You never knew me about racing, but after high school, I was a racer. I used to like race everybody. Had an Accord V6, 200 horsepower. I would drive from the States to Toronto, and I would race anyone and everyone. And I didn't lose a race. I lost 2 races out of like 40. But when I would race, I would put on a certain song track that I'd have, a little tape. I put it in, and I'm gone. Like I'm just in my zone because the music puts me in a space of being so hypersensitive to everything that I'm seeing every cut. I know exactly when to accelerate, when to brake, when to do whatever. Music did that. And I don't know if you know, but like music, I mean, I know you know, but music has the ability to tap into things that were laid in there from the artist themselves. So it's like, man, definitely, we got to be careful what we laying down in this world because someone's going to tap into it. It better be good things.
No, for real. And whether you're aware of it or not, it's affecting you. You know what I mean? Like music, everybody, I think that people will say, yeah, music is amazing, but I don't know if they realize on how many levels it is affecting you in your everyday life. You know what I mean? Like whether it's commercials, movies, just like colors impact your brain differently. Tones, vibrations of the sound, it impacts the vibration of it. It impacts you differently. So you do have to be conscious of what you're listening to, what you're taking in, because whether you're aware of it or not, it is impacting you. And so
subconscious, and you know how they had like there's certain frequencies that you can put into music, and like there's like a love frequency 528 megahertz, there's the healing frequency 432. Like I've learned a lot of these frequencies along the way. So like let's say I had a rough day, I'd put on my 432 megahertz or my 528 and just go to bed with that, and it's repairing my DNA while I sleep. It's like if you know to use frequencies to help you, it's like it's cool. But let's say you don't know what song you're listening to, just take a moment and just ask yourself, what feeling am I getting by listening to this song? Is it something that resonates with me right now? And if it's not, turn that off. Turn that SHIT off. Like, I don't know how many times people have been listening to garbage music and don't realize that it's bringing down their actual energy.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, it's true.
So
what I need to know, what's one song you would put on when you were racing?
Oh my goodness. So I was a different kind of so I'm like when I race to either house music, like I'll either go like I have like a Sirius XM radio, so I put on BP house music just like that, right? But when I was younger, what I would race to was like D'Angelo or Music Soul Child. Yeah, so like exactly. See, for me, racing wasn't about what was happening outside of me. It was about me being calm enough to be able to react and respond to things and not be agitated in my spirit at a core level. So once I could calm down my soul, everything was hypersensitive. I was like, okay, my spirit is chilling with D'Angelo. Boom, okay, cool. Just hand on the steering wheel and I'm out. Like I was able to just see the road, and it was so crazy. Have you seen the cartoon Action Man? This came out probably in like the 90s, late 90s. It was a cartoon where like this guy would do like stunts, and every time a stunt would happen, it would slow down, but everything would slow down, right? That was me when I raced. When I raced, everything was in slow motion to the point where I felt like time did not want to speed up until the race was over. So I would see the smallest details in everything. Like I would see the driver of a truck blinking. I would see like the third lane away from me car that's speeding and time that speed to be able to go to the all the way left, come all the way right. Like I was seeing everything in 3D slow motion.
Wow.
D'Angelo, Music Soul Child. I would
That's
just play their
wild.
albums and go.
That's wild. That's very cool.
Yeah, I haven't had to tap into that yet, but my sister has a story. So we went, we lived in Scarborough, and she had a bus that she was going to take to Windsor. She was going out to school in Western University. So her bus was going to leave the terminal downtown Toronto in 15 minutes, right? We lived in Scarborough, which is about a 25-minute away trip. I turned on my headphones. She got in the car. She's like, we shouldn't even leave. I'm like, let's just go and try. Let's just try. I got downtown Toronto from Scarborough, McCowan and 401 to downtown Toronto in 14 minutes.
No, man.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you right now, hold on.
That's dangerous.
Let me tell you right now, my sister will remember that story forever because she's like, Bernie, I had to close my eyes and I was not looking. She literally closed her eyes in the passenger seat and was just like this.
Yeah, man.
And I was gone. Like, I don't think I braked once. And not that this is a glory story, but we lived through it. We made it. But I think I was averaging about 170 kilometers the entire time.
Yeah, that's scary.
Easily, 170 without stopping. Like, that's just what
I mean,
it is.
It's impressive, but it's scary.
I don't do that anymore. Those days are over. They've been gone for quite some time. But yeah, music, again, the point is music can make you do amazing things. That's the moral of the story here. So, so Aria, I mean, I told you, see, now remember we were prepping for this and I was like, yo, we're going to do this live. I'm going to let you know the rabbit holes are going to happen. How do you feel so far? Like, this is probably, I don't know how many of this you've done, but how does this feel so far? How do you feel about our talk so far? Are you good? Anything that you missed? Like, we got 7 minutes to kind of wrap up. So,
anything that we missed?
Mm-hmm.
No, I wouldn't say there's anything that we missed. I wouldn't say there's anything that we missed. I mean, I hope that everyone that's been able to tune in has an opportunity to check out the Teeny Tinies. The link is in my bio. And obviously, anyone that's watching from my side of things, definitely check out Bernard's page with every Wednesday, right?
Yeah, every Wednesday we do our podcast live on IG, simulcast on YouTube. Yeah, so we hold it down. And Aria, we're gonna have you back. I think the folks in the room are already giving it a bunch of hand clappings and all kinds of stuff. I think it was a pretty exciting show, and a lot of folks watch this after the fact too. But I can just tell that there's a lot more conversation to have. So if you're open, we're happy to have you back. If you're open.
Yeah. No, I'll come back. It felt good. I was glad that we could connect, and thank you to everyone who is tuning in. Yeah, I'm definitely glad and grateful that we could connect and share what we're both doing with the community. And if there's anyone on either side that can help, put the dots together, then by all means, keep the connections going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we call ourselves the Way Tribe, and I think it's just about us coming together. Like, that's just what we call anyone that's on this podcast or that even ventures in the room and sees what we're doing. It's like, hey, you're now, whatever you're doing, with a support. Like, there's actually a young lady in here who has a fashion bag and design company that I purchased bags from her, and she's in the audience, Nini. So like, everybody just, to me, it's all about, once we know what you're about and what you're doing, and we feel your vibration and energy, it's like, listen, we're aligned. Like, it's a very simple process. And I think that's what we have to do more of in 2022, where it's not about, trying to do everything alone. Like, we've done that already. We've been on that road too many times. It's like, it's time to be the collective. It's time to be the strength that was always within us. And I'll tell you, I have never experienced this, like what I'm going to share with you, anywhere else besides in a Black church, right? So in a Black church, when the choir is going off, when the choirs are going off in churches where they're just hitting every note and you can just like feel the vibrations going down your neck. Like, I can just see and feel God's presence is going through me, right? The reason why that happens isn't because I'm in the church, because that's happened in arenas, it's happened in stadiums, it's happened wherever. Whenever that group of women or men are singing and their voices are aligned with their purpose, like in their hearts, like they're just giving it to you, right? There is an energy transfer that I can feel at a spiritual level that just makes me feel like, dang, if I could live in that zone all day, I would. And I've
Yeah.
come to realize that it's us. All it is us in unison together with one cause and one purpose that brings that feeling about. And I didn't know it was so simple. I'm like, so we're the source. So for me, it's like, as long as we're doing that outside of those concerts, as long as we do that in real life, where we're connecting together, we're creating real, authentic bonds. We are looking out for each other. We are loving on each other. We are embracing the gifts that each of us has in a way that's going to be beneficial to our children and the generations after us. If we're doing this as a group, as a collective, there's nothing that's going to be a better feeling for any of us than that. So for me, it's like, I'm just grateful for you and for this conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up before our time ran out, because it's true. How often do we get the opportunity to be on the same page, with our whole being, and move forward with that, or share song, or a conversation, or space, whatever it may be. But it's really not that often where we get to like be on the same page, and a lot of people, including myself, aren't able to be fully present. So even if we're in the same space, my mind might be here, there, yours might be all over the place. Right. So then, even though you're in the same space and time, you're not fully there. So that spark misses, you know? So you brought up a really good point. It's definitely about being in tune with your spirit, and everybody kind of being on that same wavelength tribe to help one another authentically. And I think to end, I could strum a few chords.
Yes. I wasn't going to ask you, but I knew you would do it, so I didn't have to.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. But
go ahead.
But it's perfect.
Bring it.
Like the whole tribe. The whole tribe, and like being connected and supporting one another. It's really simple.
You wait till we talk after this. I'm gonna let you know that I saw this coming. I just want you to know. Give it to us. Let's get it.
So yeah, wherever you are, just like close your eyes if you gotta close your eyes. Strong. No, not right now.
Sun's coming. Okay. He's like, I want in, mommy. Get me in this.
Not right now. You got 60 seconds. Just give me a second. So we're just gonna close our eyes, and we're gonna don't worry, you guys. I'm not trying to get you into no deep meditation or anything. Although I support that fully. Just
I do too.
Close your eyes.
I do too.
Take a deep breath in. And exhale. We're going to blow it all out. And I just want you to really tap into this present moment and just let the words kind of ring through you. I know you know the song. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright.
Yo, I think that's probably Aria, you are the best. You are the absolute best. I think you just killed it. Folks, you're not going to get this ever again. I mean, you might if she comes back, but you guys were spoiled today. So understand. Please put up hearts if you appreciated Aria today. Put up some hearts. Let me see some hearts if you appreciated her. And folks, just thank you so much, Aria. Thank you so much for everything that you do. We'll be in touch, so don't worry about that. But again, blessings to everything that you have coming up in 2022. You got my support, whatever it is that's going on. So you hit me up whenever.
Same.
I got you.
Same.
Vice versa.
Same.
So in the meantime,
energy exchange. Thank you for having me. And yeah, we can definitely do this again. Have an amazing night or day wherever you are. Much love, everyone.
All right, folks. You see it here first. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Aria, appreciate you. Blessings. And everyone, till next week, peace and love. And remember, it's all about one love, huh? One love. That's the best way to end this. All right. Take care.
Okay.
All right, bye. All right, YouTube. Peace. See you guys next week.